Research, research, research 4.0. Shadowing. Clinical experience. Volunteering. Why medicine? So these are the things that live in the heads of pre-meds rent-free. And so there can be a lot of pressure, whether it be external, like parents or friends, or internal, like yourself. You've done all these things and it might seem way too late to turn back now and choose another career. But I just want to tell you that it's easier to take one thing at a time. And that thing in this video will be research. So my name is Shawn, and when I was a freshman pre-med, everyone kept telling me that research was important. And the problem for me wasn't that I didn't know research mattered. The problem was that nobody explained how someone with no experience could actually get there. So if you're in that position, I just want to share with you the things that I did, not because it's the only path, but because I remember what it felt like to not know or have any clue where to start. So full disclaimer, I'm not a professor, nor PI, nor member of the admission committee in the program that you're interested in. But as someone who is about to end their first summer research opportunity, I just want to share with you my story and hope that you can get at least one helpful thing from this video. So now I'm going to share with you my story, and then after I can share practical tips that I would suggest for people if I were to start this all over again. Coming into college, I knew that I wanted to get involved in broadly neuroscience, neuroimmunology, neuro-oncology research, and that's because of a personal experience through a close family member of mine, in which I can get into in another video. But that led me to basically wanting to do research, any type of research, after my freshman year. At some point in November, I think, there was a survey in which a form was sent out to students interested in neuroscience research, where you had to fill out like professor and other short answer prompts to help match you with someone in the department that you could do research with. I didn't know the strat at the time, but I realized there were a lot of obstacles. First of all, I had no connections made whatsoever. I did not talk to any former students. I didn't even talk to the professors. And then I also had no experience. This was going to be my first time doing research. I had no prior experience. I grew up in a immigrant household, first generation, nothing STEM really. So that was one. And then additionally to that, I had no lab experience in high school or anything like that. I did take like advanced classes like AP Bio, but you know, that doesn't really teach you lab techniques. And so that's that. And then it was the school I go to is a small liberal arts college, and you know, there's limited opportunities in general for these types of colleges. So I go to Bowdoin, which has one of the stronger STEM curriculums and research opportunities. But even with that, they're typically limited to like around 4 to 6 on average people per lab. So it's definitely hard to get into if you don't have any connections or experience. And so I was rejected, obviously, from doing any research through that neuroscience form. And so I was kind of disappointed. I also kind of expected it because it was like a shot in the dark. I didn't have anything to really offer, and I never talked to anyone. And so that was that. I felt the pressure of not having anything planned over the summer after my freshman year, especially as a pre-med with the whole grind set of people trying to do something over the summer and getting involved in whatever to help you get into med school and become a more competitive applicant. It's really easy to get into that cycle of negative thoughts and like not knowing what to do. And so that set the tone for my fall, winter break, spring, rest of my freshman year. And so with nothing planned, I kind of just accepted that I wouldn't really be doing anything pre-med specific. And so there was another thing I could have done, but it kind of fell through. Going into my spring semester classes, I knew I had to try to do something. I mean, I knew I didn't want to do nothing over my post-freshman summer. So advice that I got from my pre-med advisor and from, you know, the web is that it's okay to have nothing for your first year summer, but rather it's good to try to do something. So that's what I was trying to find. And so I would say the turning point happened when I started talking to my intro bio professor and going to his office hours and trying to talk about what I can do to get research in the future, what I should do. I also talked about, concepts in the class and tried to clarify things. But I also talked about personal, like, goals, what I wanted to do and my interests. And so that actually ended up to me knowing about a new immunology professor coming in. And so that kind of planted the seed in the back of my mind that, oh, there's this new faculty member coming in who sounds like their research is really aligned to what I want to do. And so at the time, I actually didn't know the name. I didn't try to search up because I didn't have the information. That seed was basically just planted. And so I finished all of my classes, and the end of the freshman year came by. And then I worked reunion and commencement, which is a campus job we could do after classes ended for like 1 or 2 weeks. And so this new immunology professor actually came back to me in the most unpredicted way. So my coworker, we actually had this random discussion with upperclassmen about like research and science, like the nerdy people we are. And so we just talked about, I guess, I don't even know how it came up, but the name of this professor, he came back up again because my friend was interested in single cell. And at the time, I thought it was really funny because don't we already like study science at the single cell level or like, but regardless, I got to know the name kind of. And so we were both like, oh, maybe we're interested in the same person. Like what if we could work together in the lab? My friend actually reached out first. She looked through the internet and found an email. He didn't even have a Bowdoin-specific email, so we actually went through the web and found some way to contact and try to meet him. And so a few weeks later, I did the same thing, and then we actually got to start a relationship where we met like every week through Zoom, and it was a really fun time because you could just see my email was full of threads and chains of this professor, and also got to have meetings together all at once because we were friends and we were just interested in the same thing. That actually didn't get me an answer in terms of my summer lab experience yet because at the time it was too early to make any decisions. Even though we clearly expressed our interest and enthusiasm, there was no like, yes, you're in the lab, or like, yes, it was actually it was a lot of funny like hypotheticals and stuff. But we continued this relationship on toward the fall and kind of started working on the project that we would eventually work on now in the summer, which was really funny because I actually never thought I'd get into this type of stuff. We were working on bioinformatics and a lot of computational stuff, and that's also could be another video. We had weekly meetings and check-ins, and yeah, and then actually in November, that's when we kind of got a decision where we would be prioritized because we had this existing relationship ever since this summer. And so we had a lot of momentum going into the work that would be started kind of in the spring and then into the upcoming summer. And so that's basically how I got my research experience. And it took quite a lot of funny coincidences and luck, I would say, and also a lot of self-initiative to get yourself in the position where an opportunity like this could come up and for you to be ready to take it. And so now let's get into what I learned from this and how you could also use these tips to get any opportunity that you might find interesting. So if I could say it in one sentence, the thing I really think got me into the position where I am is putting myself in positions where opportunity could find you. So that basically means, like, the whole thing started, I think, by me going to office hours. That's the one really important thing. If you're going to apply to research, try to get your face into their brain. Like, try to get your face engraved name in their mind so they know who you are rather than one out of the like 10 million people they're talking to about their research. Because the first step is awareness, obviously. So you have to know, they have to know who you are if you want to be a part of their research. That can be really scary because networking might not be everyone's favorite thing. But just think about it, like making friends with someone, just like talking to them. Put yourself out there, and it's okay if you come across as inexperienced because you might be. No one is born knowing what they do now. So once again, talking to professors is really important. I didn't mention this in the story, but over the summer after my freshman year, I actually talked to my old science professors, my chemistry, biology. I just talked to them asking how I could get into research. Simple as that. I even talked to the librarian, because who you might not think of as the first person to ask for advice, but go to your professors and ask for advice. That's what I would say is a really big tip because first of all, you get to talk to them as a person. You're expressing eagerness, enthusiasm. You This is one way you could ask for help. And so I feel like everyone could do this because advice for a career is kind of universal. Like what you lack is experience, not necessarily knowledge. Well, you it could go both ways, but experience is something that mentors have, like professors and librarians and parents, literally everyone who is older than you, upper class students, just go out there and talk. That's big advice. One of the key pieces of advice that I learned was to have a question. That can demonstrate what you call an intellectual curiosity. Professors and researchers in literally anything like science, at least, really care that you are interested in something, specifically interested in answering a question. One thing you could do is to read up on whoever professor or whatever lab you're interested in working with. And reading over the work, you don't have to understand everything, just enough to have a question that you could ask when you meet with them. So let me tell you how I first got a meeting with my professor and how you could approach that. So the first meeting is where you can give your first impressions. Like I said, put a face to your name and give them a sense of who you are and why you're interested. Like I said before, you come in with this intellectual curiosity, show them you're eager, ask your questions, and hopefully they can respond well. It's also an opportunity for you to suss out the vibes. You want to see if the professor or PI or whoever is genuinely interested in their work. If not, bad sign. Probably not a good idea, or probably a better idea for you to find someone else, because if you're not passionate about your research, you're probably not passionate about trying to teach it to others. Once again, I like to think of mentorship as a really important factor in finding research mentors and programs and opportunities, because you could be in, you can love science. You could say that you love science as a baby, and then if you put it in the wrong environment, that could really just wipe your dreams away and really burn you out. And that's not what we want to do. Like, get them banned, we don't do that here. Even before that, I would tell you to read up on stuff, see what labs they've been in, what the research topic is. First of all, if you're even interested in them in the first place, because if you're not interested in them, then why would you even try to talk to them in the first place? Knowing your why is incredibly important and kind of underrated because it can really drive you and provide the motivation and to an extent the discipline that you might need to reach out to other people and get involved in certain types of research. Because if you really forget why you're doing this, just think about what other ways you could spend your time doing rather than say research. So like that's another great exercise to do. Ask yourself, is there any other way that I could be spending my time if I am not in this research lab? And why would that be better or why would that be worse? And that's another tip I would give is in comparing your other options, ask yourself what are the limitations of those other options that research doesn't have? Because if the pros outweigh the cons, then you probably are in a you probably know that you would have a greater, more meaningful experience doing research rather than all the other things you could do. And that can go to help differentiating different professors in their research. Like, ask yourself, why this professor versus this lab or whatever. So that boils down to basically asking yourself, why? Take a look at what they've done and how it connects to you. Because if you can find a personal connection to yourself and the relevance, why it matters for you, that's an A plus right there. Because that's what I did, and here's my email that I first sent to this person. And as you can see, these are the things that I talked about and how they are relevant to me. Because I found a personal connection to his work and how I could apply it to my own life, and then how I could use that knowledge in the future. And that can definitely give you a really promising position for them to want to work with you. Ask for a 15 to 20-minute meeting, nothing crazy. Usually it'll go over time, but that's how you can first reach out to them and get a meeting with them. And so during that actual meeting, once again, show them who you are, show them why you're interested, and what you can do with their mentorship and the places you'll go. At the end of the meeting, you can just say thank you. Make sure to thank them for talking with you, sharing everything they wanted to. A bonus tip is to, if you can somehow continue that conversation toward another time you could meet, that'll help you build an ongoing relationship and just continue the conversation and not let them just let you go. Because this is how you can build a relationship that it can sustain. And oftentimes, nothing will be decided in the first meeting. Like I said, for me, nothing was decided in the first meeting. Only things like what the professor was researching, like what questions they were trying to answer. That is the thing that you want to get from the first meeting. You don't want to approach it with, oh, I need to have an opportunity, I need a yes from this person. It's really hard to just decide on a whim. You need to take some time to see if you're really interested in the work, because you never really know until you get the experience yourself. It's a catch-22. How are you supposed to demonstrate your interest when you don't know and don't have the experience to say that you actually do like it? And so that's one of my biggest problems that I think finding opportunities is, like, how do you express your interest without actually knowing if you're interested in it without having the experience of doing it, if you get what I mean. Like, bruh. But anyway, goal is to try to build a continuous, sustained relationship with the person of interest. Hopefully that'll lead you toward an opportunity. After just remembering what I did to get here, you'll never be able to know what exactly will help you in getting a research opportunity before. But in retrospect, you'll see all the ways that the puzzle pieces have aligned for you to get to where you are or will be. And so just trust that process. I like to say it's having faith. So if you think about everything that you're doing now will help you in getting to the place you want to be, that it's actually useful and not a waste of time, you'll get into the places you want to be, because just doing that effort may not lead you to where you might think you might want to be, but it'll lead you somewhere, hopefully at a place where it's a great environment and a great fit for you. And once again, a program in which you're a great fit for. And also, once again, you've probably heard this, but even if it doesn't work the first time, I like to think that rejection is redirection. So I actually would be happy if I got a rejection. I'm very happy that I didn't get a position actually. Well, I wouldn't know, but I would like to think that I got steered away from something that could be helpful for me, but not as helpful as what experiences I did to get me here today, if that makes sense. Like, if I didn't do something, if I did get a research opportunity last summer, maybe that wouldn't have led me to getting to a research opportunity this summer that I actually like, that I'm very passionate about. Like immunology, that can be, and I am interested in how it connects to neuroscience, but maybe I wouldn't have stuck with, maybe I would have stuck with neuroscience and gone a completely different path. So just trust that you'll end up wherever you're meant to be. So in addition to that, it's also really easy to think about other people and not just your path. But I just want to remind you that, once again, everyone has their own path. Not everyone will look the same. And so just trust that you'll do whatever it takes to get to where you want to be. And if it takes a bit more time than others, then sure, it's okay. If you really wanted it, then I think you'll end up wherever you'll be, and you'll be all right. So just to add some nuance to that, there are definitely people out there whose situations are time sensitive and might need something in a certain time frame. And for that, I would say if you don't get any opportunities, then still, it's okay. You don't have to worry too much about it. It's okay to have some, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to think that it sucks. But at some point, I would just say to lift yourself back up, talk to people, have a support network, and just remember that you're not defined by this one thing that you need, but in the future, you'll find where you need to be. So yeah, that's my story, my advice, pep talk, if you will. Definitely not comprehensive. I might have left out some things that I really think are important and others might add on to as well. But for now, this is a great base for you to think about. And if you have any more questions or concerns or other video ideas, I'm gladly open and willing to address them. So leave them down in the comments. And just, I wish you good luck, whoever you are watching this. I hope my story helped provide some help to you. Maybe, hopefully not some stress, but something that you could take away. Leave what you don't think is necessary. So yeah, wish you the best. I'll see ya.